This is sort of for well, everybody, I guess. But to Karen Ann McDonald, sorry, Karen Ann Luke McDonald. She's like a princess to me. Okay. Because what she spends all of her energy doing. So it's sort of for her because she keeps, you know, she keeps tabs on what's happening, right? And so I'm just gonna share with her, but to all of you because she knows where I'm at on the Big Island, right? And and so I experience what I call markers, or I call them flags, flag events. Hey, put a check mark by that. Something that's sort of noticeable, versus other things that is happening simultaneously. And this is particularly true when I'm one with all creation, right? And lit myself on fire, and how that works at the center point of a sphere, the center point of a magnetosphere, because I experience the the ecospheres, right? So I'm experiencing the pressure differences that are taking place, which are the atmospherics, which are the ethers, right? Between wind, water, fire, and all that, right? The gyrodome, if you will. But what I experienced yesterday actually began early in the morning, right? Between sun up, sun down, right? Between the electric and the magnetics, right? How that relates to the actual axial spin rotation of sonic, right? Sonic and water, fire and water, right? The spark of life, right? Because a flash point, you have a flash point, and then you have an ignition point. Then you have fire, burning gas, hydrogen, and helium. The atmospherics, the elements of the atmospheres, the alchemical reaction states, right? Of elementals and molecules, right? Bidirectional, multi-directional, multi-dimensional, right? Density of consciousness, electrical density consciousness, right? And how that works related to torque speed in a black hole, okay? Or if you will, the Metatronic reversal. And that great video that guy did that's listed under the Emerald Covenant list of videos. It might be in the Voyagers channel, but I think it's in the Emerald Covenant. No, wait, I think it's the Voyager channel, not the Emerald Covenant, although they're all cross-related. In which Eon, who it's called Awakening Earth, about the spirals. And he did a pretty good graph. And so last night, or early in the morning yesterday, before the sun came up, I began experiencing a headache, a bad headache, most of the day yesterday, and it's centered, where you see, the deep, when we talk about bifurcation of the hemispheres, right? Between, if you will, the two magnets. So when you've joined as one, there's no separation. You're one with all creation. That's the blast furnace of an eternal sun. And so yesterday, the headache that I was feeling is like this push and this pull, right? And so that's where the headache was coming through, is the electromagnetics, right down the center here. See? And then feeling it right here, right? And so what I experience is what we call tension, an enormous amount of tension. Okay, so when you think of tension, we're talking about what? Electrified sound and magnetic light. And the tension between finite light and living light with the electromagnetic spectrum of planetary consciousness in the field, mapping the terrain. So what I was experiencing yesterday, Karen, is the torque speed of the actual spin of planetary consciousness, right? Like one is not wanting to let go of the other. Trying to pull you, trying to pull, Come on, I don't want to separate from you. I can't separate from you, right? So this is like a torque speed measurement of experience, right? So I do certain things in order to relieve that. I put a cold pack on my head, right? Took a hit off a pretty good bud last night. Lit some fire in here, and hydrated myself pretty well yesterday, and drank about I don't know, about 18 ounces of the baking soda, the good stuff, Bob's Red Mill with distilled water, and some great salt that I have here that comes from the. It's well, one of the things I love about being over here on this island is the different colored sandy beaches. You got green sand beaches, black sand beaches, white sand beaches, right, and red salt, red sand, red crystals, and so I have some red salt, and put a little bit of that in with the baking soda, and drank quite a bit of that yesterday, and of course the day before, and then push some pine oil, turpentine, up my nostrils, and so I felt better this morning. But boy, the motor would not shut off last night. It took me the better part of about 3 hours listening to some very beautiful, take me to another place, tune that other stuff out, because it's like when my mind is beginning to race, right? And I experienced this when I was a little child. Even though I go into my heart, be calm, the still point. That's telling me that a lot is going on over the last 24 hours. Things have settled down. Be calm. Be calm. Silence is golden fire. The divine love of golden fire. Liquid gold consciousness. Liquid fire. Living crystal fire. So that's sort of an update. But I'm also mindful that of where I'm at. My geomagnetic location is on the Big Island on the north side. Because, as you know, the weather systems and the way that energy works on this island is not the same everywhere you go. And it's one of the reasons I love this island so much is that it doesn't take you long in terms of having to travel if you're going to use a motor vehicle to travel as your consciousness transportation vehicle, between, like, when you get over to the Kona, it's hot and it's dry. Then you can go higher up on the sort of the west middle portion of the island, in a place called Ocean View, and it's like being in a desert, right? But it's cool up there naturally because you're up around, 4,000 some odd feet up around there. And then, of course, you can go over on the east side, and between, say, Kalapana gets less rain as you go further sort of southeast towards Hilo, and you get over to what's called the Hawaiian Gardens area. Now, they get more rain over in there, particularly in Hilo. And Lapahoi is sort of, because of all the growth and the vegetation here, we get rain off and on, all the time, right? But the further west we go, there's less rain when you get over into Waimea and get down into what's called Kona Kailua, towards, I call it a tourist trap, because you gotta have a lot of money to be able to stay in those places, the Marriott Hotel and all that, and I traveled through some of those places there. As a matter of fact, I think it's the Marriott that has a big tank where you can go up with one of the handlers, like a CIA handler with the dolphins. There's a dolphin tank there, right? And so anyway, I just wanted to sort of share with you that that as the current events, the current news events on the Northeast, West, and South, right? All the stuff that you're hearing through the mass media, the mass electrical density population media, the mediums like mediums channeling information, like the stuff that I shared with the Fox News folks, and now you see how all this sort of works, and particularly when I experienced so much tension yesterday morning and all through most of the day until actually pretty late last night. It didn't subside till about, as it kept getting darker, and I guess it was around 2:30 in the morning. It finally, slow the motor down, man. Slow the planetary motor down. Yeah, let's be calm here, right? Yeah, so it's how it is, releasing all this stuff, right? What's held in memory represents what? The miasma body of a planet, right? How about the miasma body of a galactic and universal template? Imagine how much would have to be transmuted, right? Right? So anyway, have a beautiful day. The sun's out here. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you all for your energy. Thank you all for being here. Have a beautiful day. I love you all. Be good to yourselves.